So 17 through 20 is our next group of items to do. 90% confidence interval for this proportion gives you this interval here. Okay? So we've got this going on. And if the store owner claims, so the claim is that the proportion of cheddar cheese sales is 86%, and he runs a significance test of alpha, what would you expect? So what's happening is you have, 90% confidence, so we've got 90% in the middle, we've got alpha out, our areas out here. So our rejection region is 5%, okay? The fact is that since this 0.86 is not in this interval, then I would anticipate, rejecting his claim. I get something that does not contain his amount, so I don't really think his claim is going to hold up. Okay, it does appear as though since the entire interval is lower than his claim, that the value is probably lower than 0.86. All right, 18. What's the critical values? What are these points of location here for a 70% confidence interval? That puts 70% in the middle. 70% in the middle, then you got 30% split between these two tails. So therefore, there's 15% in each tail. Okay? So 15% in each tail. So I do inverse norm of 0.15. That gives me the negative 1.036. And I know symmetry means this one up here is positive 1.036. All right, for 19, then what we have is M&M's packages. They're supposed to contain 20% orange. Okay, so they test this. 32 randomly selected packages are opened, and the proportion of orange M&M's is calculated. All right, so they're testing the null is saying that the orange proportion is 20%, and the alternative is saying not equal to. All right, so they test this claim at the 2% level. So, here's what happens. The corresponding confidence level. So, since they tell us that this is two-tail and that the entire rejection region is 2%, then that means there is 1% in each tail. So, if there is 1% in each of the tails, then that means 98% is here in the middle. Therefore, they are going to be having a 98% confidence. Okay, part B, if that corresponding confidence interval gives them this, do you think we would reject or fail to reject if we ran a test? Well, 0.2 is very easily contained inside this interval they get. So I don't think I would have evidence to reject the claim of 0.2. It's clearly in my interval, so it's very plausible value. So I would not reject the claim of 20% orange candies. All right, and finally, number 20. We have an interval here from 0.756 to 0.844. What is the sample proportion? What is the p-hat? Well, remember that an interval has your p-hat smack dab in the middle of it. You go margin of error up and margin of error down. So if I'm going from 0.756 up to 0.844, then I need to find the location right in the center. So I would probably add these items and divide by 2. If I added those and divided by 2 to get the quote-unquote average, then that puts it right at 0.8.